supposed to be bringing in objective, independent testimony about the effects of fracking. What that means is that he has brought in nothing but industry and political appointees, Rich Fitzgerald, who obviously have to toe the line whether they want to. So that's where we're at.
This bill, what would
It is a two-page ordinance that basically says we agree with letting Rich Fitzgerald negotiate the lease. There's only one clause in it that cannot be changed once it's signed, and that is a clause that says you can never do surface leasing or surface drilling rather in Deer Lakes Park. Other than that, by the county solicitor's admission, even though it was under stress from another council member, he finally admitted that if the council approves this ordinance, Rich Fitzgerald and the corporation can renegotiate virtually everything in that lease after it's approved.
you guys obviously don't want to do this?
Well, we don't think it should be fracking under Lakes period or fracking under Deer Lakes Park. I think public park is public parks, and they're held in trust and in covenant for the people, and they shouldn't be used for private gain or private industry, especially an industry that, despite their denials, has a long history and range of company. You certainly have a long history of some violations of contamination of people's water, of people's land, of devaluation of homes who are around frack pads. We can't stop them from fracking on private property. We understand that. But we think they should not be drilling underneath public parks. Because it's only a 1,200-acre park. It has a bunch of working people living around it. You don't have a lot of doctors or professional people or politicians or lawyers, not a lot, who are living around this park. That makes this park relatively defenseless. I'm sad to say, but that's the way things work in our world. You've got mostly people around here who are hard-working people. They don't have the resources to try and stop that. So they're going to drill under this one, or try to drill under this one first, a small 1,200-acre park that probably most county roads have never even heard of. If they can get away with it here, you better believe they're going to go into their parks as well, including some of the biggest parks that people have used.
What happens this week?
This week there will be a council meeting the coming week in which the public is entitled to testify at any council meeting. It will not be on the agenda. The day after that, I believe there's another Parks Committee meeting at which the public is allowed to attend but not allowed to speak. This particular Parks Committee meeting is supposedly restricted to the topic of the legal issues around fracking under Deer Lakes Park. However, the best expert in the state, a guy named John Smith, who helped overturn Act 13, has been barred from testifying. Nick Futilli says he will not allow him to testify. And the people who are coming in, Range Resources is being allowed to do apparently about a half-hour to 1 hour presentation on the entire process, which hardly is a legal issue. But Nick Futilli is in charge of the agenda.
So what are you guys planning to do?
We plan on continuing to do what we've been doing, which is organizing around the issue, educating the public as much as we can. We don't have money behind us. You know, the people who are testifying there have all the resources of the fossil fuel industry, all the resources of Range and Huntley, all the political contributors. We have just us. We finance this out of donations of $5 and $10, doing it ourselves. We will continue to go to the meetings. We will continue to supply those good council members, because clearly there are a number of council members who are honestly questioning not only the process, but fracking itself. When it started, we don't think we knew anybody that was really questioning, except for, I think, Barbara Daly Danko and perhaps one other, Bill Robinson. But besides those two, there were not people who understood the process. We're attempting to educate them. We want them to look at the independent literature, the objective testimony about this, and then make a decision. We're not financed by the industry. Everything they're hearing from the industry is obviously biased. Why else would they be there? We're the only ones that don't have a financial interest in this, is what I'm saying. We have no financial interest. Nothing. We have nothing to gain except to keep our parks clean. That's the only thing we have to gain, is to save our parks. The Pennsylvania Constitution, Article 27, says the people are entitled to clean air, water, and light. That was part of the Act 13 decision. We're entitled to that.
Has there anyone who has seen the damage of fracking and fracking is done?
Some of the people who are here have been down to the fields, and we know people whose wells have been contaminated. You know, we repeatedly hear from the industry that there is no well contamination going on, that they've never had an issue. That's because they buy people's land. Talk about the Halowich case. They bought an entire farm. They bought the Halowich's estate, I think it was 10 acres. But they also had a gag rule. They bought it because they totally contaminated that. And then they bought it, and here's a gag rule that says you're not allowed to talk about it. Here's some money, go away, but you're not allowed to speak. And the gag order included the gag order on the children for their lives. The 10-year-olds were not going to be allowed to speak about this issue. So there's plenty of issues of contamination. You can find them just about everywhere. The industry always denies it, but there's plenty of scientific studies that have shown that it's possible as well. We are constantly told by industry that there is somehow an impermeable layer below the earth, that stuff cannot possibly migrate up from those frac sites, from the lateral lines that are down there. We live in southwest Pennsylvania. Give me a break. You're trying to tell me this soil is not fractured, the ground is not fractured. There's no such thing as an impermeable layer. It's there. It can migrate up. It can contaminate wells. We all know that. Despite industry claiming it never happens, it happens.